Well, good afternoon, Max. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Tom. How are you?
I am great. I am loving our new series on little books, big messages, and we've got another one that you're actually going to be tackling this week. So, what is our little book of this week?
This week, we're going to be looking at the Book of Habakkuk. It's one of the minor prophets, minor meaning shorter, not less important. Important little note there. And so the Book of Habakkuk is really interesting. And there's simultaneously seems like a little going on and a lot going on. It's a little
Hmm.
book with a big message. It really fits what our goal was with this series. And so this book actually takes place during the timeline of what's known as the inter-exile period. So after they've come back from the first exile and before the second exile. So Assyria has taken over Israel, and then they've imprisoned them and everything, and then Assyria is now being kind of dealt with and being removed from the map. And so Israel is kind of taking over their land a little bit again and kind of regaining their own identity. And we have the reign of King Josiah, one of the most famous and most positive uh, kings that we have during that kind of exile period, the later dates of Israel's history in the Old Testament. And where we get Habakkuk is somewhere around 605 BC to 609, technically 609 to 605, because BC works backwards.
Backwards.
Um, and so basically, from the death of Josiah to early on in the reign of Jehoiakim,
Mm.
and Jehoiakim is essentially the complete opposite of Josiah. Josiah found the law and desired to see Israel following God again, and Jehoiakim comes on the scene and does the exact opposite. He oppresses his people both physically and financially, and the spiritual flourishing that we see under Josiah begins to go away. And in the midst of all of this prophet, Habakkuk, receives a vision, a message from God. And so we see that God is telling Habakkuk about what's going to take place in Israel. And so we get this prophetic message for what is going to happen and what is going to be the future of the Israelite people. And what we're going to see there is God is going to use someone to punish Israel for their wickedness. And
Yeah.
he's going to use a wicked nation, Babylon. And this is where we get into the big message. And so with that, we see that this book is written actually as a conversation.
Hmm.
It's three prayers by Habakkuk with responses from God, in which Habakkuk is praying, God, what is going on? Why are we being punished? Why are we experiencing this injustice? Where are you? And Habakkuk is very honest with God, and you really see the frustration in his words and everything that's happening with this. And what we see is God responds to him just as honestly as Habakkuk comes at God, honestly and emotionally. And God tells him, no, I am still just. And I am going to raise up Babylon, who is a wicked people, but I'm going to use them,
Hmm.
and they're going to judge my people because they have forsaken me again.
I
And
think that's
ultimately,
one of the prophet's real concerns is, yes, we're being a wicked people right now, but how are you going to use an even more wicked people to judge us? That doesn't make sense, God.
absolutely, it's a very natural struggle. I mean, I think for anyone who's ever struggled with the question, why do good things or bad things, sorry, why do bad things happen to good people? Habakkuk is a book you really need to read
Hmm.
and understand that even those who are good need correction. And so, what does it mean that God raises up a more wicked nation to judge them? And God is very clear that He's not going to leave them in control. He's going to judge Babylon, probably even harsher than He's judging Israel,
Hmm.
but He's going to use them for a time. And Habakkuk is given this message. We get no conversation between Habakkuk and the people, but the point of this message is you need to prepare the people. You need to pass this on so that when this is happening, the people understand and they know that I've not forsaken you. I have not abandoned you. I am still your God, and you are still my people. But there's going to be struggle. And it is because of your choices, because of how you have acted. And we're going to see that Habakkuk struggles with this, but God stands firm and God is very clear on what it's going to look like in the coming years.
Yeah, and I love how there's a movement throughout the book itself, where I think there's several interesting things in this book. One, it's not about the prophet speaking to the people; it's about the prophet and God's conversation they're having, and it starts out with that first prayer of, look what's going on in Israel. Why aren't you acting? And God basically says, I am acting. I'm raising up another nation that's going to come in. And that's the second prayer. How are you going to use this other nation? And really, I think the great thing about it is how you see Habakkuk's response, where
Yeah.
he remains faithful. And one of my favorite things about it is, as you mentioned, that third prayer, how it actually appears to be a song that he's
Yeah.
written, and it ends in, it starts with frustration and even more frustration, but then it ends in worshiping and praising and trusting God regardless of the circumstances. And that's why I love this book, because it is so relevant to today, whether it's a culture-wide crisis that's going on around us, or whether it's a personal crisis. When we ask God, where are you? What are you doing? And we may not particularly like what he's doing in that very moment, but our response should be trust and faith and ultimately praise, because he's still God. I'm looking forward to it,
Absolutely.
Max.
Me too.
All right. See you soon.
Bye.